Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. It is 11:31 in the morning. I just left my recovery meeting a little while ago. I was on the way home, and then I remembered, I think I probably have a package at the post office, which is where I'm going right now. And then I am going to go to Old Navy and return the two cheap black polos that I got there, because the pieces I have that are nicer, that I'm going to be happier wearing and feel better in, I have enough of those pieces that I don't think I need this like emergency black shirt. So I'm going to return both of those because it's $30 I can put in my pocket, right? So I'm going to go check out my P.O. box. So today I have no real plans. I am all ready for work outside of, I want to buy a paper calendar. I haven't used a paper calendar in, I don't think, my life, but because I'm going to have to work with a whole new kind of schedule idea, I literally want a paper calendar hanging in the house where I can write down the days I'm working and the hours I'm working. So I'm not like, wait, am I working today? So I'm going to buy myself a calendar today. But so otherwise, I don't know what to film today. And I do want to film something. So I have two thoughts. First, I can do a Q&A because I still have questions left over that you guys have asked me. I'm probably going to touch on the cat, because so many of you have reacted so vigorously in a particular way that I really feel the need to defend my actions about that cat. But also, there are so many new subscribers who don't know any of my stories or my history, so it's hard sometimes to put into context why I would worry about this cat so much, or why I talk so much about my alcoholism, or whatever. So I was thinking of going back, really way back in the Wayback Machine, and sharing some stories of my more interesting stories. Celebratory ones and also sadder, dramatic ones as well. But sharing some stories of what made me who I am today. Of course, as I say this out loud, I'm very aware of my sense of ego. And like, you guys need to know all of my life story. No, you don't. But some of you would find it interesting. So would you prefer a question and answer video? Or, because I'll do both eventually. Or would you prefer like a story from my way back years, from my formative years? Yeah, let me know in the comment section which you'd prefer. And I got something in the mail at the post office. Let's see what it is. I got a little package. Oh my gosh, it's a giant box from PetSmart. All right, hold on. Firstly, I received my cell phone case. I've been waiting for 3 or 4 weeks for this damn thing. I don't know why it took so long, but I'm glad to have received it. And I received a card from Ms. BS. Always, always thoughtful, always funny. Today, just sweet and sympathetic. You're stronger than you think, and you're not alone. Inside, a lot of people are pulling for you every step of the way. I know it's a challenging time in life. We all have bad days. That nightmare, and I'm assuming that's the one that was reoccurring, of that passenger dying over and over again. That nightmare is a symbol of something. Keep practicing gratitude and acceptance. Brenda. Always thoughtful, always sweet, and always lifting my spirits up. So I also received this box from PetSmart. Let's see what it is. Well, Eleanor is going to love this paper. True, always a winner. And applause. What's this? Oh my God, it's so heavy. Applause. Huh. All right, let's see. I'm a little cautious here. Hold on one sec. It's a wet food. I can try this, but I'm also very anxious about this. My cats I don't know why, they love their wet treats. They love their churro. They love their delectable squeeze ups. That's their favorite. They won't eat wet food. I try occasionally because I'd prefer them to eat wet food, especially since I'm going to be home every day. So I can give them wet food. Living in the desert here, keeping them hydrated is one of my biggest goals. So I would like them to eat wet food. Every time I've given them wet food, one of them throws up vigorously. Most likely Buddy. He will eat, and then it's like within 30 seconds he's like, whoa, and it's all over the place, but foamed up just to add some interesting texture. So I don't know what to do with those. I do want to thank you for thinking of me and thinking of the cats. Is there a receipt in here? No. I will try it with the cats to see if they'll eat these, because this might be the magic bullet. I don't know. We'll try it. If not, I might, if I don't have a receipt or anything, I might donate these to a cat rescue. There's a couple. So if that's okay, I might, I'll try my cats with these. If they eat them and don't throw up, yay, I would be so happy. But if they don't eat them, or the other thing happens, I might donate these to a local rescue. In fact, that Homeward Bound cat adoptions is right around the corner. So thank you for thinking of my cats, but this may not be a winner. But we'll see. I don't want to practice contempt prior to investigation. That's one of my favorite phrases in the world. What else is going on? I think that's it. I need to eat something myself because I'm starving. I will talk to you later. All right. Buddy's loving the gravy. We'll see if he eats the food. Eleanor's enjoying the gravy too. Well, it's the solids that they may leave behind. We'll see. Yeah, that's what was left over for Buddy and for Eleanor. So I think I'm going to donate these cans of cat food. Hi, Eleanor. Hi, baby. You want your regular treats? Okay. I have nothing for you. Don't crawl up my leg. I have nothing for you. I'm so sorry. Get off me. Oh my God, I feel so bad. Oh, I wish I had something to feed that little animal, whatever it was. Hey guys, hi. Well, good afternoon. I just had a beautiful little animal crawling around my foot. I'm kind of thrown by that. It is 6:02 in the afternoon. I am at Sunset Park, which is really neat. It's one of the last places you'll see the original dunes that made up much of the Las Vegas Valley. Really neat. And over there's a man-made lake. There's a huge family get-together over there. So it's a really, really interesting day. Got the mountains in the background over there. It's a gorgeous day, and this little animal wants food, and I have nothing for you. He's got a friend. They're both coming after me. Let's keep walking. Let's walk. So, hey, good afternoon. It's a beautiful day here. I thought I'd go for a little bit of a walk after I took a nap while I can, because it's going to become an inferno over the next few weeks, and I want to enjoy the outside while I can. So earlier today, I'm not sure if I even said this already because that little chipmunk thing kind of threw me. I asked you earlier today whether or not you'd like to hear about a Q&A, because I love doing Q&As and you guys ask the best questions, or if you'd like some story times of some of my exploits and some of the things that have, forged me into who I am today. I still think that sounds so egotistical. Do you want to know more about my life story? So I didn't know what to film for today, and I really wanted to film something today. So I figured one topic that sooner or later I'd have to talk about is why I loved working for Spirit Airlines. People loved to hate Spirit. They loved to hate Spirit. You might be that person. The one thing I want the one thing I want you to know, and I wrote some notes down. I want you to know is, as much as people love to hate Spirit, we loved you. We loved you. I loved you, and you knew that when you were on my planes. And I wasn't the most unique. I wasn't the best flight attendant in the world. Most of my coworkers felt the same way. But yeah, we tried to love you people, and so many times you just pushed it away. Just, I don't know. But that's number one. What I'd like to make sure that you knew is that we loved you. We really did. We really did. So I just jotted some notes down here, some bullet points I wanted to touch on when it comes to reasons I loved working for Spirit Airlines. So let's look at some of these bullet points here. Passengers. That's the top of my list. If anyone ever asks, like, what do you love about being a flight attendant? First words out of my mouth, passengers. Our passengers were always fantastic. We had some people who liked to cause trouble. We had some mischievous people, a couple handful here and there that liked to, stir the shit. They just, very rare, very small percentage. For the most part, we had everyday Americans, a lot of travelers from abroad as well, who wanted to get a look at our country for some reason. But we had everyday Americans. There were no elites on my planes. You weren't walking through first class feeling like a schlump, dragging your bag behind you, passing by all these people who are sitting in first class, Everyday Americans. No one was elite. We had, people would get on the plane. I'm going to ramble a lot today. People would get on the plane and they pass by what we called our big front seats, or our Spirit First seats. And they go, oh, look, first class. And I would always make a little joke. Everybody's first class on this plane. Everyone is first class. And that's how I felt. And again, I'm not the only one who felt that way. So yeah, there were no elites. In fact, I think because of our price point and our business model, it allowed people who normally wouldn't be able to fly, who normally wouldn't be able to travel, especially large groups, like family groups. We saw a lot of girls' trips, a lot of cheerleading competitions and all sorts of stuff. People who normally couldn't afford a Delta flight or American or United could somehow make it work with Spirit. But I'll get to that point later on when it comes to business models. I am to walk back to the car because the sun's going to pop out of this giant cloud in a moment and it'll be too sunny. So I'm going to pop into the car. You can't hear it. I don't think you. But this little quail is pissed off. He does not like these pigeons. He is so funny. He's a very unhappy quail. Look at the little quail. Oh, and another little quail. Hey guys, how are you? Good afternoon. It is... Oh, what is this little animal? What is that? Oh, it's a little baby one, whatever it is. They're all over the place. Look at them. Oh, hello guys, how are you? Good afternoon. I am at Sunset Park here in Las Vegas, taking a little walk because it's a beautiful, beautiful day. Just before it gets like incinerator hot here in Las Vegas, I figured I'd come out here, take a little walk about. And I figured this would be a great opportunity to chat for a bit about a topic that I'm struggling with it sometimes, but yeah, so I'm glad I got back in the car because I was getting tired of carrying my phone around. And then just now I just realized I've got a selfie stick in my suitcase. My flight attendant suitcase is right behind the seat here, still packed. I have not been able to unpack that bag yet. I will one day. But I was telling you how much I loved my passengers. I loved them. I loved them. We had passengers from every walk of life, from every strata of society. We had those passengers on board. The passengers that would come on with Gucci and the Goyard bags next to someone who's carrying their belongings in a white plastic trash bag. They were all the same people. And there was something about the nature of the airline and that I think there was a sense of equality there, and that we were all the same bozos on the same bus, and it just... I don't know, I just loved our passengers. And our passengers, again, they come from every walk of life. And they were going through every possible type of experience. Some of them were traveling for fun. We had bunches of international travelers who wanted to go across the U.S. all over the place. And they couldn't afford to do that on Delta. But with Spirit, with our prices being fairly low, they could go anywhere they wanted to explore our country, Same thing for our, American citizens. They could do the same thing. But... our passengers were solo travelers, they were bridal parties, they were softball tournaments, they were basketball players, they were cheer squads, they were seniors going on their first time to Costa Rica to go zip lining for their 65th birthday. We had everybody with Spirit. Everyone flew us, and I'd like to think that they all felt like equals, and I just love them. And I'll get emotional because I had some of the best experiences of my life with some of these passengers, even in the darkest of times. Like I just told you just a few days ago about that passenger who died. Even that experience was amazing in that, like, I loved every passenger almost every passenger that came on the plane. But that lady, her last words on this planet, in this plane of existence, was "Thank you for being so nice to me." Her last words were to me saying, "Thank you for being so nice to me." I was very nice to her, but I was just as nice to everybody else, and I'd like to think that they all felt it. And I got it back. I got all of that love back from my passengers. All the love. I can't tell you the number of hugs I received, the number of notes written on napkins, just the drawings from the kids. The passengers were amazing. On long days, on difficult days, I didn't think I could make it, the passengers were always the reasons I got up and kept going. And I loved them. I just wish that they all knew I loved them so much. I hope I got that across when I worked with them. Crews. Our crews were probably one of the most diverse in the industry. No joke, really. I mean, everyone's going to say, no, we're diverse. Not as diverse as Spirit. Trust me. We had everybody. We had lifeguards, we had retailers, we had lifetime nurses and police officers. We had everybody of every color, every nationality, every gender identity, everybody worked for Spirit. We had a little bit of everybody, which is just amazing. So I was introduced to things in cultures I may not have ever learned about. And I just had the best crews. We had the best crews. And while we were larger than a charter or a regional airline, we were still fairly small. And so, we knew each other, like everyone in Las Vegas for the most part. I was always meeting somebody. I'm like, are you sure you're Las Vegas based? I've never seen you before. But for the most part, we all knew each other. We may not work with each other all the time, but we saw each other all the time. On the jet bridge, in the airport, at the hotel, on a layover. We all knew each other and recognized each other for the most part. And there was just a sense of solidarity, a sense of teamwork that was born from this massive, everyone was so different. It all kind of worked. It took a lot of puzzle pieces to make it work, and every puzzle piece is different, and diversity really worked for us. It really, really worked for us. Even when it comes to some of the passengers on board, sometimes we'd have a passenger of a particular culture or background or history or whatever that didn't feel comfortable with me, for example, because I'm this big, giant, tall, white, gay guy, and this other flight attendant who's Nigerian woman might, for some reason, have this spin on something. It makes it all better, even when it came to a medical, and right now I'm thinking about a medical emergency we had in the plane, and I was the first person to see the passenger, the first person to come to the scene and start to take care of her. But because of the culture of the passenger, she didn't really feel comfortable with me talking about what was really happening, and she was having some issues with a surgery she had on some parts that we don't talk about usually in public, and she couldn't talk to me about it, but she was able to talk to a woman from a similar region of the world. And it's just where the diversity allows us to get to places where we need to get more easily. I don't know. Is that making any sense at all? We just had the most diverse crew. And what did I write here? Everybody knew of everybody else, so there were no surprises. Like, even in the bad instances, we had a flight attendant in Vegas that people would call Sleeping Beauty, because she had a history of napping. Purposefully napping, not falling asleep by accident, you know. So, like, as small as the crew was, that worked well 90% of the time. There's always that little percentage of people who are like, you know, because it was a small group. We got to know the people who you kind of had to work around, and even that is great, you know, because it was nice. No surprises. There's no surprises. Seniority. Now, with a small airline, seniority is easier to come by because there's frequently a larger amount of attrition. Plus, you know, I don't know, but with Spirit, a lot of people took jobs with us as stepping stones in the industry to get their wings and get along to somebody else's pairs of wings, you know. But there's a lot of us who really stuck around because we loved Spirit. We really did. And seniority, because we were so young in airline, we were only around for maybe 34 years, I think, which means there was probably a handful of people with seniority that was, say, I don't know, 20 to 25 years. So it was a handful of those people. The rest of us, when we ceased operations, I think the most junior flight attendant was probably 5 years in maybe. And then I'd say the average seniority for a senior flight attendant was maybe 15 to 17 years. So seniority for us was never such a divide between the juniors and the seniors. There were very few dinosaurs with Spirit. You know what I'm talking about if you're in the industry. So that there's an equality, sort of a level playing field within the crews. So that there's very few super seniors you had to worry about. There were times that people thought that I was super senior when I had 9.5 years, you know, and that's going to lead into quality of life when it comes to Spirit. Spirit, number one, we didn't have a flying minimum. With most airlines, there's a minimum number of hours that you have to work each month. Spirit had a minimum of 0. If you didn't want to work, you didn't have to work. You just drop your trips. So you learn how to bid so that you don't have any trips that straddle 2 different months, because it's hard to drop those trips. But you bid for lines that you can drop all your trips. You drop your trips and you go to Mexico. You do whatever you have to do. And you don't get paid for those trips. But I think the only real restriction, the only guideline there was, I think you had to have 611, something like that, number of hours credits to get health insurance the next year. But that's it. So if you didn't want to work, you didn't have to work. Work-life balance. Our trips were, because we didn't use PBS, we had regular lines built, and you bid for each line, not for options like PBS does. But you bid for the trips that the lines that you liked. Then you were able to swap and flip and drop and add and all sorts of. We had amazing control over how you worked that month, and our trips would span between turns into 4-day trips. There was one month where we had 5-day trips, and it sucked. And I think the company learned that it was not a good thing to do. But we had everything from turn lines to 4-day trips. So you got the kind of flying that you wanted. I liked having 3- and 4-day trips because I loved nice layovers in nice cities. I liked longer days. I liked red eyes, and I liked the per diem that you would get for a 4-day trip. It was very nice, a lot of money. So you really had almost total control. Once you were a line holder and you had a little seniority behind you, which is the industry, you had amazing control over your life. It would take someone with my seniority, you'd have to have 35 years or more with a legacy airline to have the control that I had over my life at 9.5 years. So, yes, the seniority and the work-life balance was just unmatched, and just amazing. Let's see. What else did I write here? Safety. I never worried about my safety on a Spirit Airlines flight. I never worried. You can look back at history in the however many years, 34 years, I think. We never had a fatality. We never had an accident so bad as to severely injure someone that I'm aware of. I think the only instance I can think of for accidents is when another airline hit us with their wing or something. There's never any incident with Spirit that I had to worry about my own safety. We didn't have passengers sucked out of windows or pulled into, did we have it? No. Into a jet, an engine or any of these things, all these crazy things that are happening never happened on Spirit. We had the most amazing maintenance crews that were award winning. Every year won awards for their level of training and excellence. We had a very young fleet. Most of our planes were very young and very new. So the airline was incredibly safe. And with every airline, it's safety first. But with Spirit, they really, and we had, everyone in the business had the ability to stop operations if we did not feel everything was completely safe. If one of our crew, be it a flight deck officer or a cabin crew, if anyone said, we'll worry about that later, we'll worry about that on our next leg, you could call the whole operation to a stop if someone said something, and no one would. So it was just the most safe organization, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Let's see. Business model, pricing. I did not fly a lot before I became a flight attendant. I hated to fly. I never wanted to be a flight attendant. I hated to fly. So I wasn't really that aware of what other airlines were doing when it came to their business models. I didn't know how different Spirit was at the time. But when I first started, we were completely a la carte. You got exactly what you paid for. What you didn't pay for, you didn't get. If you wanted a specific seat, you paid. If it was $5, I don't know what it was. If you wanted a specific seat, you paid for that specific seat. If you wanted to carry suitcases on board, you paid for those suitcases. Because if you didn't need a specific seat and you didn't need to carry a suitcase and you didn't blah, 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 your ticket may only cost you $30. There were times during the pandemic, our tickets were $14. Our prices were ridiculously low. If you didn't need all of these things, you only paid for what you needed. And so you had the choice. But a lot of people took a long time to figure out how to work that or the reasons and the benefits. Other airlines like Southwest famously for a long time was you had 2 free checked bags that were 50 pounds a piece. Multiply 50 by 2. That's 100 pounds, obviously. Multiply that by however many passengers you have on a plane. That is a lot of mass that the airline has to pay for fuel to lift that crap up in the air and get it across the country. And the whole process, the whole system, very sophisticated system built to get those pieces from A to point B, or you can pick it up at the baggage carousel. It doesn't happen like this instantly. It's a very expensive and very technologically sophisticated piece of equipment to get your bag from A to B. It costs money to do that. So the tickets at Southwest that used to be a low-cost airline would still cost you $700, because you're paying for everybody's bag while you just have a backpack. So with Spirit, I think our business model was amazing once you understood it, and then you learned how to take advantage of it. Things that we could do at Spirit as a passenger, we had penny fares. Some people didn't know about them, but penny fares, you walk up to the gate, the ticket counter, and if there's a flight leaving, I think it was within 2 hours of that moment, if there were open seats, you could get that ticket for whatever the taxes were for the flight. So if the taxes were $5, you paid $5 and you got on the plane and went somewhere. You didn't always have control over where they were going. So if you had a sense of adventure and you were like, hey, let's go somewhere, what ticket can I get for the penny fare? Oh, this, that, and the other. Sign me up. Adventure, true adventure. We had, if you went to the ticket counter and you bought your ticket at the counter, all those online fees, all those things that were added on to your plane fares, that on our website, you could see those fees. all those fees were waived. All those fees went away, and you paid less at the ticket counter. There were things that we allowed passengers to do, ways to get around prices that were amazing and kind of fun. But no one cared. No one cared. What else? Yeah, I just loved it, especially Vegas. You know, what do you need in Vegas, especially in the warmer weather? You need a dress, a pair of shoes, a pair of sneakers, a pair of jeans, t-shirt. Stick that in a backpack, you're on your way. You know, you don't need a big giant suitcase. What else did I write? Oh, you know, and I wrote down again, I was touching on people who could normally not afford to fly got the chance to fly with Spirit. And if it was a large group, like a cheer group or something like that, they could travel with us affordably and get where they need to go safely and have a great time doing it. Where other airlines, that might be prohibitive. We would have all the time, we would have family reunions coming on board. Everyone has the same t-shirt on. There's like 50 people traveling with a group to a family reunion. With some airlines, those people couldn't have done that. You know, we allowed things to happen that normally would not have been able to happen. I think I already talked about our flying in that we had such a variety of trips that we could work. And again, the ability to drop and pick up and swap. I had amazing control over my schedule. It was amazing. So those are the things I actually wrote down in regards to why I loved our airline. Some other things that... Seeing a bright yellow airplane, almost that color right there. Seeing a bright yellow airplane angling up into a blue desert blue sky filled me with pride. We had the prettiest planes. The only plane I didn't like was the Skittles plane with the S on the back in different colors. Then I loved the pixelated gray livery, if you remember that one. It's a gray plane, and the front was made of little pixels of different color, different shades of gray. I just love that livery. But the yellow planes, oh my God, I loved them. I loved the yellow planes. They were so pretty. They was just so, I don't know. And in all, there was this sense of being an underdog with Spirit, kind of like Rocky was the underdog in some of the first Rocky films, you know, the underdog, the fighter, the unexpected success, and that felt like Spirit to me. I loved my job at Spirit. I know that I would love any job with any airline, but Spirit made it really easy and really fun. Now, I am going to be doing a video about what I hated about being a flight attendant with Spirit. There is a video for that. There's content for that video. There's a lot of things I hated. That's a lie. There's a good, healthy handful of things I hated about being a flight attendant with Spirit. The other aspects that I didn't like about being a flight attendant weren't the fault of Spirit, but there's a few things about Spirit that I really disliked enormously, and especially at the end. But I love being a Spirit flight attendant. I did, and I mourn the fact that I'm no longer a Spirit flight attendant. It offered me everything I wanted to get to a point in my life where I'm completely happy. It allowed me so many things. Blah, blah, blah. How many ways can I tell you I love my job as a Spirit flight attendant? I'm going to let you go because I can hear my voice starting to get crackly because I've been talking for so long, and I'm getting thirsty and I want a little snack or a nibble. So I'm going to end this video here, but drop me a comment in this section below if there's something that you wanted me to talk about or expound upon regards to, oh my God, how cute is this? Wait. Whoa, look how cute. These two big black dogs and this little teeny white one. All right, so I am going to let you go. But just leave a comment in the section below if you'd like me to expand upon or expound upon something, and I'll do my best. And again, I'm going to be putting together a Q&A again very soon. So if you have any questions specifically around Spirit, you know, or something you think that we wouldn't normally be able to share with you, certainly leave a comment below, and I will see you guys later. All right, fly safe. Bye. I had to take a picture of these clouds while I'm at a stoplight. Isn't that amazing? Oh man, I miss clouds. I miss being amongst and on top of and over and through those clouds. So beautiful.